So it seems we've settled on the fact that he is a principal academic staff member at the R Institute of Technology in Christchurch, and he's had over 45 years of experience in science, research, and adult education. Pretty impressive. And he teaches in the BICT degree. Could someone interpret that for me, please?
Bachelor of Information and Communication Technologies.
Thank you.
Right.
In the software development pathway, focusing on project-based activities, including responsibility for the degree and the final semester capstone joint IT industry work integrated learning project course. I used to be in education as well, at the Christchurch College of Education. There were a lot of acronyms there.
That's called our Will Capstone course.
So David and the two others here are going to demonstrate some of the things that they have been working on, specifically to do with prostate cancer and looking at applications, and something that I'm really looking forward to. And of course, we're recording it. And so I'll pass across to David.
Tēnā koutou katoa. Ngā mahare mai. Ko David Weir, toka ingoa e te whanau. Everyone that's here, thank you for coming along. Welcome. I'm David Weir, and I'm wearing two hats tonight. And it's been... All right, I can sit down. Oh. I'm wearing two hats tonight, and it's the coming together of those two roles, which is really the focus of what we're going to be talking about tonight. In January of 2024, I got the news that I had prostate cancer just before my birthday. So that was an interesting present. And then the actual confirmation of the stage and what it was happened on March the 1st. And I remember it quite vividly. And Grace was with me. It was, well, David, you've got stage 4 prostate cancer. It's high volume, metastatic cancer spread throughout your bones. There is no cure, but we've got a whole bunch of treatments that may extend your life. Now, that was the beginning of my journey. And not long after that, I joined the Prostate Cancer Foundation group here, and continued to work full-time as I underwent my treatments. I've been, I think, quite lucky in that, for whatever reason, my body's really sensitive to the drugs that they were giving me, and I had an immediate response. And within 6 weeks of starting treatment, my PSA was undetectable, and I went through chemotherapy, 5 months, which I don't wish upon anyone, really. It's not a very pleasant thing to have to endure. And some of the students would have seen me through that process and perhaps wondered why I looked a little bit odd all the time with, I didn't have any hair. So this is my reaction to having no hair. I've let it grow and let it do its thing. Being a member of this group, hearing stories from the men that came along and talked about how they found or didn't find the information that they wanted, and thinking about my own journey, I thought, we should do something about this. Because I know that I had to find information from a huge number of disparate sources, but it wasn't a big deal for me because, I've done that sort of stuff before. In fact, I commented to somebody that, it felt like writing the introductory chapter of my PhD thesis all over again and having to go and read all of the stuff and try and understand, because I wanted to know what was going on in my body, what these treatments meant. And one of the oncology nurses said, it's good to get informed and get some information, because then you can have meaningful dialogues with the specialists, and they actually appreciate that. Okay, so that was the thing mulling over in my head. And so halfway through chemotherapy, we started the second semester in 2024, and I talked to my colleagues about, why don't we actually do something about that? I'll be the proxy for the Prostate Cancer Foundation, and let's have a look at doing something about what it really is not a very well functioning website. When you go there and you click on stuff and you want to go back, it's not very obvious how you're going to do that. And there were broken links. Now, broken links mean that you promised that you're going to give me this file. I click on it, file not found. Now, most users are not going to hang around wasting their time on a website that has broken links and files not found. So you'll go somewhere else. So this was, this is a unfortunate thing that's going to put people off, certainly put me off. And so I went elsewhere. And I had this huge repository of information. And so I said to the students that in one of my final, the final year, level 7, it's called the prostate. It's called the Software Development Project course, and it's a course in which the students will be given a task to do that it simulates working in the industry and having a client and then trying to understand what the end users actually are wanting and develop something that might be appropriate as a proof of concept. So the first semester, that's what we did. Tried to develop a proof of concept, something that would be a little bit different. So what I'm going to do now is go down and share screen so that you can see what I'm
The left.
do. Share. Oh, it is 2. Thank you. Found it. All right, and we're going to look at the piece of work that was done by one of the students. Now, we've got loads of work that we could possibly show you, but did it share? Oh, share at the bottom. Thank you. Done. All right, so now it's sharing, and I'll get this sharing your screen. Cool. So this is a piece of work done by a student who is now a graduate and working in the industry. His name is Jade Sainui. He can't be here tonight. He's working and unfortunately not even in Christchurch, so he gives his apologies. And he went through the process of trying to understand how do you make a repository more accessible. And the process that drives what we're doing here is called user-centric development. In other words, what do the end users actually want? What do they need? What do they want to see? And it's an iterative process, which means it goes through cycles of development, and it is also incremental. So you go through a cycle of development, you get some users to actually look at it, you run them through user tests, and then you make improvements and go through another cycle, make improvements, go through another cycle. And so I know that Jade, for example, was one of the students that had members from this Prostate Cancer Foundation group as user to look at his product and to give him some feedback, for example. So this was his one that he designed, and it starts off with, well, what's your pathway? What are you looking for? You want support and information, or you want to learn more about what's happening with what's going on here? And so this thing is a bit of a nuisance, gets in the way. So you can actually go in and select the information and say, all right, well, let's find out more about support and information. So let's learn more, for example. So we can go to the information hub, learn about prostate cancer, how you can get support, helpful resources, and there's more information down here. There's risk, symptoms, testing, diagnosis, treatment. So he was thinking about how do you present the information in a way that doesn't overwhelm you with a whole lot of text, but gives you the opportunity to click through and find things and open up and see more. So this is one of the examples that I might mention, but we've got more than a dozen different prototype developments. We're just going to show you a sample of them tonight because we don't have enough time to show them all. So this is one of the ways that he went about this process, and you can see, all right, oh, I want to find out about, well, what do I do? Supporting family and friends, someone with prostate cancer, getting information about it, supporting decision making, attending appointments, all these kind of things that's come from one of the resources that we had at the beginning. Read that article. It's going to take you 15 minutes, but you have links. You've got things that you can go to, and you can listen to the article, right? You got difficulty reading? Well, listen to it or stop. No? You want it smaller or bigger? Well, I'm having difficulty reading. There you go, John. Is it big enough now?
Very good.
Yep. So these things, thinking about the end user, thinking about the fact that a lot of the users are going to be a little bit older and their eyesight might not be so good. But that's not the only users. I mean, you're going to hear how we've expanded the user base and thinking about how do you engage with younger people? How do you engage with people that haven't got prostate cancer yet? How do you engage with people that are just looking for information? So this is one example. Families, yeah, well, in English, not Jade's first language. And I just spotted that spelling mistake. Yeah. And then about us, what we're trying to do, and a whole bunch of articles that you could actually have a look at for further reading. And then he's also got a contact. And here's the support groups. You know, we do want to find out about support groups, folks. We want to find out about what's going on in Canterbury, right? Find all the Canterbury support groups. So he put it together in a way that makes it much more accessible than what we've currently got at the moment. There we go. 74 Langtons Road. Talk to Russell. Yeah, for example. So that was the first iteration. That was last year, and we got started on thinking about how we might actually make things better. Roll through 2025, and some new technology became available. At ARA, for instance, we became what's called an enterprise user of the Microsoft Copilot artificial intelligence engine. Now, being an enterprise means that it ring fences anything that is within the organization and does not pass information externally. So it means that you can, as an enterprise, develop tools that are using your sensitive information and have confidence that, unlike the generic AI models that you might use, it's not going to become part of its data set and sharing it all with the world. So example of that was when a industrious person at Samsung head office in Korea wanted some assistance with writing the annual report with the financial details that he had. So he asked ChatGPT to give him a hand. Well, of course, he just shared confidential Samsung financial records with the world. So anyone can actually put, how did Samsung get on financially in 2024, 23? And there it is, because the data is there. Okay? So that's what happens normally. But with an enterprise model, you keep it in-house. And it was an exciting time for us because it was new. You know, create, customize, and launch artificial intelligence agents using Microsoft 365 Copilot, using their studio, which had just become available to us at ARA. And as a class, we said, well, let's explore this. Let's do something with it. And so we did. And so I, with the class, created this thing called the Prostate Cancer Buddy. And they insisted that I put my picture up there for some reason. I don't know why they wanted that, but I suppose it's better than a cat or a dog. But
Because the majority vote in COVID.
yeah, it was, yeah. So what I've done here is that I've asked it some questions already, so you can see the sort of responses that it has. This is inside the engine. Now, the fundamental thing that I want you to know here is that we have a ring-fenced set of data in what's called the knowledge base. I selected from my enormous pool of articles, a curated set of information, and it amounted to about 66
I think it's close to 70.
Well, closer to 70, or yeah, whatever. It was nearly 70 different articles that we trust. We've curated them. It's New Zealand centric with some other information from the organisations in the UK that are pertinent and relevant. And so that became the knowledge base. And the other thing about an agent is that you're telling it you're only allowed to use this data. This is your repository. But the other thing you can do with it is that you can tune how it behaves. So we told it what its purpose was. You're going to be a buddy. You're going to be supporting people. You're going to have a certain tone of response, and this is what you have to say. And we don't want you to give it vast amounts of data all at once. So try and curate the information that you find and present it in a way that will be easier for people to understand. And so I've got a few of these things already here, like, what is prostate cancer? And we might as well look at that one because this will show you something that might be a bit of a surprise. That's the question. Ano ang prostate cancer? You'll understand that, don't you? That's not English. It's Philippine language. Because I had a student in my office who said, "Oh, would it understand if I do this?" I said, "Well, let's try." And there you go. So it translated the Filipino language into this thing here, what is prostate cancer? And it said, "All right, I understand what you're talking about." And so it found some information and then presented it here. And you'll notice, I know that it's a bit small for some of you to see it, but it's talking about prostate cancer, and it's actually talking about, look, if you want to talk to someone, there's an 0800 number. But you should always actually talk with a family or the health practitioner for proper guidance. So what we're doing here is just giving you some information, but it's not the equivalent of talking with the doctor. So it's reminding people to use that. And what support is available from New Zealand Foundation? Well, there you go. It's actually found all that information. You can see more. There's lots more here you could find, and it presents it in a way that we inside this development engine can see what's happening. We can see what resources it's using to answer the questions. Let's go down and actually ask it a lot of nonsense, shall we? We'll go down to the bottom here and say, all right, how does it respond to a nonsense question? What's the nonsense question?
Do you like?
Oh, okay. Do you like cats? Oh, but spell it right. The space in there. Do you like cats? Well, it's having a think about that. And then it comes back with something, yeah? So it's trying to be nice to you, because we told it to be nice. Don't say, what a stupid question. No, I don't know anything about cats. Or if you use a generic model, it would actually tell you some nonsense about it, about its feelings about cats. So here, and it sort of said, he gave us a bit of information saying, well, I'm sorry, I'm not sure how I can help you with that. You can try rephrasing it. We don't have any information about cats in here in the database. All right. Okay. What does it look like? Well, this is the engine. This is where we play with stuff. This is where we develop things. This is where we actually manipulate it. And all of the students actually did a little bit of their own manipulation, playing and actually trying to give it their nuance. What would it look like if it was in a test site? Oh, here we go. Grace, you might be able to read that. Okay. Well, it read that from Chinese and it said, oh, what is prostate cancer? And this is the answer that it was given. Yeah. Please note the information above is or suggestions for general education purposes. Again, we're giving that a variation on the message that if you want further information from talking to someone, phone the Prostate Cancer Foundation helpline or go see your medical practitioner. But it gives you something like that. It said it was unable to connect, but that was because I took it home. It was offline, of course. It's telling me stuff like that. So what are we going to ask it? What question is burning in your mind right now? What would you like to know? Alan, what sort of thing would you like to know?
Is the HIFU treatment that the British are offering at the moment an effective treatment?
The British.
You can walk into a clinic in the UK now.
We probably wouldn't have a resource that actually connects to the British. Yeah, because we're New Zealand centric and the information that we've got. So it would search the database and say, I'm sorry, I don't have
Do
the.
cats get prostate cancer?
Well, I wouldn't know anything about cats, but we could say who can get prostate cancer, yeah?
I haven't actually tried this.
Yeah, accurate for the answer.
Yeah.
Oh, it's
Yeah, sort of another one.
it's unable to connect at the moment. Okay, we'll do this again. Sorry. Who can get prostate cancer? Yeah. And of course, you can answer. How many languages does the Microsoft engine identify? Probably nearly 100.
Well, 215 actually.
215. There you go. 215 different languages. It will be fine.
Yes.
It's currently unavailable, so we can go down and do it here. Yeah, technology. It does that occasionally. It's to do with the licensing, which we'll talk about later. Okay. Who can get prostate cancer? And we all know the answer to that, don't we?
Oh man.
So it's saying it's searching, it's in progress, it's looking through the knowledge base. Anyone with a prostate can get prostate cancer. This includes men, transgender women, male assigned, non-binary, or intersex people. The risk increases with age and is more common in older individuals. Having a family history, especially a first-degree male relative like a father or brother with prostate cancer, doubles your risk. Yeah,
My oncologists push back on that,
yeah.
which I find quite strange.
Yes, I find that quite strange as well. And
Push back on the
He said it's up for debate whether both my father and my grandfather and my father's brother all had high-grade prostate cancer.
so it's giving us a whole bunch of information here, including the genetic factors and the mutations for the BRCA1, BRCA2, the HOXB13, the ATM check, and Lynch syndromes. All right, so there's a whole bunch of information there. It talks about ethnicity, it talks about other factors. What was that?
Not quite right. So it does differentiation between, say, BRCA1 and BRCA2.
Yep.
BRCA2 is a much higher risk.
Yeah, you're right. So it's just giving, it's saying play a role. There's a,
So it
hmm,
does the same mother. You can inherit it from both too.
hmm. Yeah,
Which is a common error. So
yeah,
it would be a good thing to add.
Yeah.
yeah, it would be. Yeah, so we just need,
Inherit genes.
yeah, we just need an article that actually talks about the inheritance. Yeah, and we can add that to the database repository. Yeah. So that, so the other good news about that is that if you say, oh, look, there's something missing here, then we go into the knowledge base, click on it, add the repository information, and then it becomes part of what the engine will work. Or if there's something in there that's, not actually quite right, we'll get rid of it. Yep. So that's the sort of thing that the AI engine can do. And so that was quite a large amount of information. Yeah. Okay. And there's a whole bunch of other things, but that's just the topic of AI agents. So from the first semester, the challenge was readers on the website, talking to your target audiences, and perhaps also integrate an AI agent into it. And so I'll pass over to Adrian. and yours is the
Rats.
Prostate Hub. There we go. Thank you, Andrew.
Hey, David. Here, my name is Adrian, and I'm the first semester of this year's student for the software project that David has just told you. And this is my approach to the website design. Now, to give you some context how this came about, I actually had to go through user tests, and I don't pick them randomly. I go by the actual ethnic groups that's based in New Zealand. So the first group that David challenged us, first off the bat, is the younger audience. And I'm talking about people from 18 and above. So I actually found a target audience that's in his early 20s that helped me test it out. And the second group is something that I didn't know that those people actually need information like this, and that's the family support groups. People who have family loved ones that has prostate cancer or is going through the process. So I actually found one that is a neighbor of mine. And I didn't realize this until she told me that the husband has prostate cancer. And the challenge is that she's of Chinese descent. So English is not the first language. And it's difficult for her to translate information from English to a Chinese language because the translation is not direct. And it can be a bit fuzzy when it comes to medical terms, as you may know it. And the third audience is probably the hardest I have to find, is that the Maori group. Because it's really hard to find someone that wants to look at this and volunteer to test it. So I was fortunate enough to find two construction workers that happened to be in my social group. And I just say, hey, are you guys keen to have a try and just test it out for me just to see what you think? Turns out that they were very keen because apparently their family has a huge history of prostate cancer. From, like you said, the mom's side of the family that's involved with all the whole different generations in their group. And there are two brothers, one in the early 40s and one in the late 40s. And the last group is probably the most common group, you would say, the Caucasian males in their early 50s to late 60s. And based on their feedback, well, the first round of feedback was, I would say, pretty hurtful, in my opinion, because they were pretty, well, I'll just say brutally honest about my first iteration of my design. And they all came with a lot of ideas that I never thought about. Like, for example, they can't see the website well because the font is too small. Or it's like, I can't find my mouse on the screen. And small things that I never considered. So what I did is that I actually have a way for you to change the text size. So you can browse through and see it much bigger than the original size you can see here. And if you notice, there's this little halo around the mouse. And it came to my conclusion that they need some indication of where things are. And the next challenge is that they told me that based on the current Prostate Foundation website is that information overload was the keyword that was given to me. And I asked them, how would you prefer information to be given to you? And they all told me that they like the way a brochure looks, which is short and to the point. But then again, they also felt like, a brochure doesn't really help because you can't really pick what you want to read and it doesn't chain back to it. So it's more about how to decimate the content to them in stages. So if you look at the top bar here, this is based on the actual stages they have, and you notice stage 0, that is based on the younger audience because they don't have any stages just yet. They're still trying to figure out what is prostate cancer, how do you get it, or where did it come from? So this is meant for the younger audience. And he gave me a feedback that really stuck to me. He's like, we use Wikipedia a lot. And it's a great website because you click one time to a particular link you want to look at, and you get this whole bunch of information straight off the bat. So there's literally what we call the 1, 2, 3 process of getting to the information you want. You go to the website, you see the link that you want to look at, and you click on it, and you're done. So that's my approach for this design here. And in terms of information overload, you can pick what I call an accordion. So you want to look at when do I start screening? And you just click on it. And you have relevant information, just enough to give it an idea of what they need to do. Not too much, but not too little. And of course, the remaining stages is for those who actually have went through a medical practitioner and they have found out that they have a certain stage that they were at. And it's also broken down into accordions. And its target audience is not just for the general health, like people in their late 50s or 60s. It could be the Maori people. It could be anyone that's interested in know like support options for family members. So each stage have the exact same template that's built into it. And of course, there's a dedicated page for family support, which one of my users found this very helpful. And it's quite eye-opening that while I'm building this as a prototype, I'm actually helping someone that's going through an actual situation. And it's a great way to find out that what I'm doing is actually helping someone in the process. And of course, David loves his research papers. He has a bunch of them that's given to us in class, and I took a few that was really interesting. So example, like Kegel exercises, and you have a whole bunch of medical terms that I still don't understand even till today. But it's enough to get me going. And I found a few photos of how to do a Kegel exercise. Because the feedback I got is that there's a lot of words. I would like some pictures. And of course, they say picture speaks 1,000 words. And I agree with that. And then you have the Kawakawa tree medical properties that I didn't know about until I did this prototype. And of course, you have the KNIMD, which I'm sure most of you have heard about. And of course, we have the support groups. Now, mind you, most of the photos of the members and the board are all blurred out for privacy reasons. And for this particular page, based on my predecessor from Jade's website, is that the one thing that I got feedback on is that they would like to have a Google Maps link. Because what they went through is that they will go, "Oh, okay, so there's a place somewhere nearby in Whangarei, but where?" Usually you have an address here, but we know that it's kind of dangerous to just put an address in there. Sometimes you get spam bots. And of course, your email address it could be a problem as well. Even phone numbers can be spammed from the website. So there's certain things built in to make sure that that doesn't happen. And of course, the map itself, if you click on it, it should take you to Whangarei. And of course, I don't know the actual address of where this is at, but that can be added in. And of course, you have the actual chatbot itself that's currently unavailable because of a student license that I'm on. But if this is swapped over to a external license like OpenAI, you can use this publicly. And of course, you're probably thinking, what's the cost of it? And I run the numbers. I did a lot of research, and David knows that I'm really good at going down the rabbit hole in this kind of stuff. So there's a pay-as-you-go plan. And to give you some context, is that how it charges is in cents, not dollars. It's in cents per million of token. Now, what is a token? A token is literally what you type into the chatbot and what it gives back to you. And they count it in characters. And this is fascinating because this is something that I never expect to dive into in such detail. But to give you a summary is that the input and the output combines and forms this token. And if we run the numbers saying there's 4,000 people who likes to use the chatbot and they do a query 10 times a day asking questions, that's a lot of queries are going on. But the funny thing is that the cost of it is really dependent on the usage itself per month. It's on a weekly thing. It's a charge per month as you go. So when I did the calculation, let's say we get 10,000 tokens a day, and that's in 30 days for a whole month, for example. that costs literally close to $5 a month. And Microsoft itself have a license that has a fixed price model you can pay for, and that's $350 a month. So the options are there, and my personal recommendation is that you go with the pay-as-you-go plan, because first off, you want to test how much users are actually using it before you actually have a final sum or cost or budget that you want to allocate to it. And of course, Lucio actually has his own version of the website using a different AI model. And I'll hand it over to him to explain it to you.
But there's one thing else. This is all very good and fine on a desktop machine, isn't it?
That's right.
But our target audience is user things, aren't they?
Yeah. And this is something that all of us have to adhere to, which is the mobile responsiveness. So, example, how many of you actually use an iPhone here? Android?
We got Android.
Android? Perfect. So let's go pick up a Samsung Galaxy. And remove that. So you can see that this is actually responding to the size of your phone, and you can browse it. So imagine this is your finger. You can literally just tap and just drag around. And if you want to look at the tablet, which some of my users actually have, you can go through and look at something. Let's see. Oh wait, I put through. So this is a tablet view. And you can still use the same functionality as a desktop on your laptop. And this is totally mobile friendly. Everything is synchronized and it's going to be responsive to whatever shape and size your monitor or your device is. Yeah. Yes.
Good show.
Yeah.
Hello, my name is Lucio, and I've been honored to take a part of this long journey that I started on second semester around July the semester. And this was a very interesting course because we were going through iterative process of going through. So I went through designed my website in pen and paper. Then in the next design, I've done a mid-fidelity prototype, which means I designed an actual website and I got actual users to test out my design. Then next is the high fidelity, which is very polished website with colors and text and pictures in it. And this is my current final product. And like I said, each iteration in this project that, like Adrian, we got ourselves users. Most of my users were around 20s, 30s, and late 30s men. That was my target group. And yeah, they gave me a bunch of feedback, such as the font size being too small, or like a sidebar that you can navigate through here on the side. And it really helped me improve the website that I've been developing over the course of time. And by the end, I have designed a, proof of concept prostate cancer website that's quite a bit functional, such as the AI that we briefly mentioned. So when you type something like, what is prostate cancer? It gives you out a bunch of answers saying all these information that people can quickly read and take knowledge of. And like David said, a lot of these informations that's being stored within the that's available in New Zealand. So it won't tell you anything about the statistic or something you might don't want to hear from America, for example, because we want to let you know about what's happening in New Zealand and what the statistics are in New Zealand. So for the navigation, I made it so it's quite eye-catching. So such as telling you about the statistic. 1 in 8 men that will be diagnosed with prostate cancer in their lifetime. And this is one of the feedback that I got from one of my friends. He's a 18-year-old kid at Ara, and he wants to know, how does the age actually affect my prostate cancer? So you can do a slider here that you can check, and it'll tell you very rare, but a great time to learn and stay informed. And if you're a bit older, the slider will change. The risk begins to increase, and it's smart. It's smart to learn and stay aware. These are some of the features that I've developed, and to navigate around the website, I made it quite friendly, so it's easy to click on the side. And now you can learn a bit more about prostate cancer, and some of the older men, like 30s, mid 30s, late 40s men, they can just click on the sidebar link. They can take you straight away to the information they quickly need. And in the research page, it talks about all these research and prevention that you might be interested in. And like in the prostate information page, you can click on the sidebar links and takes you to the link straight away. And finally, there's a support page that, similar to Adrian, you can find about which region that you are looking for. For example, we're in Canterbury, and it'll take you to phone number, the coordinator, and the email address that the information that you might need. So yeah, so this is my proof of concept, and yeah, thank you for listening.
One of the things, Lucia, that you did also, I noticed, is that you have links to further information.
Yes. So for example, if we go to research, yeah, so if you click about the ProSpit here, it'll take you to the link while staying on the Men's Health NZ, my website. Anything else? Oh, thank you.
Thank you. So, I think the take-home message is we've got some really talented people on our BICT degree who can give proof of concept, but even more, with the big project, which Adrian's just finished, so he's finished in degree now, and we've got students available for 300 hours of industrial equivalent work. They can create some really meaningful and useful tools that might be then ready to be integrated and go live. So I'm saying, think about that as an organization. We've got the talent, we've got a whole bunch of people that can give real assistance to transforming the way that we present information and make it more accessible. What we didn't demonstrate tonight is, and one of the concepts that this group actually said, engagement with younger people, you have to gamify things, don't you?
Yeah.
And that's something that we're next semester going to be working on, and say, think about gamification, how it could be perhaps another pop-up on a website that's already been written. Yeah,
Well,
Adrian.
There's actually one of my peers who did the same attempt to make a gamification of prostate cancer. He actually did a pretty good job because he actually made it into a quiz. And you get points for every question you get right. If you get it wrong, you don't get punished, but it gives you actual information as to what the answer is. So in some ways, it's both informative and educational, but it's fun in a way because it's a quiz. So you're trying to guess the answer, but you usually get it wrong because you have no idea about it. And unfortunately, I couldn't get a hand of it because I didn't want him to come today.
Yeah.
Because he actually have a very good example of what that does.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, he's got his project panel coming up soon.
Oh, yes.
So this is a busy time for our students because it's the end of the semester and they're all getting their assessments written and handed in. Yes.
if this is a project for, for example, if it's a project for these students to do, which is, I think, might be suggesting, is that right?
Yep.
Yeah. Would they all need to do the same project? Because I'm just thinking, when you're gamifying,
Yep.
came up.
Yeah.
Prostate cancer is obviously the most common by a long shot,
Yeah.
but there's also testicular, which
Yes.
does affect
Yeah.
young men.
It does.
But as I was working until a few months ago, there was a young guy who's 18
Yeah.
with testicular cancer. So in that type of audience,
Yes.
that the gamifying thing might be really important.
Yes.
That will obviously be a different cancer, so a different approach.
But it fits with the brief, doesn't it? Yeah,
Well, I
but
guess-
prostate and testicular cancer
Yes.
are two of the main things that we're interested in getting more information out and awareness about. Yeah.
Very different in numbers, but yeah, in terms of the younger people,
Yes.
that's when that hits you. I think is sort of 18, 19, 20.
Yeah. Indeed. Yeah.
This is wonderful. One thing I found, I thought I knew quite a bit before I was diagnosed, but I've been learning so much more post-diagnosis now that I know where to find it. This needs to be out front, public, all this. And this is the best, this is fantastic. To be easily accessible, should be a link to it on the bloody stuff that goes up, in my view. And also the other thing I was going to add was knowledge is power, because
Absolutely.
there's oncologists and there's oncologists, right?
Yes.
And you can keep them honest and drive them. I think that applies to GPs as well. You can keep them honest. Yeah.
Well, I think the hardest part when I tried to make my website was that I actually tried to get medical advice, because I actually have another internship that I did called Injury Hub. And the client of mine, who is actually the founder, she's actually a practitioner based in Hawke's Bay. She has this huge knowledge base in like her own experience. She's been in the industry for 20 years. And everything she tells me is that you don't find this by Googling. You have to talk to someone that's in the field to be able to give you advice on the information you're sharing on that place. So I just wanted to make it more accurate in a way, but also not too biased. Because some specialists have a certain, like you say, a different knowledge.
But that's to be accurate. You're right. No, not emotional. It's completely just facts and nice and simple.
Yeah.
We use a software we call Confluence, which we blog on at work, because sometimes you can spend hours down a Google rabbit hole looking for some manuals, and something that points you in a particular direction to the right information. And what we do is we put that in Confluence, or we make a link or something. Yeah, it's invaluable, actually.
And that's a very good suggestion, Adrian. I've got another appointment with my medical oncologist in early December, actually on December the 2nd, and I'll take the laptop. Because he asked me, well, what have you been doing? And I was like, well, have a look at some of the things that we've got here. Give us some feedback, yeah?
What irritates me though is you prompt them with something. They go, oh no, but they don't give you any real explanation.
Just take a big stick along.
What I've found, and I talked to other guys too, is that there's such a huge range of what you're told depending on who you see.
Yes.
And some of the urologists or oncologists will say, no, that's not my field, I don't do that. Whereas other ones will say, yes, this is my field, I do this. So these are, post-diagnosis, post-treatment.
Yeah.
And so this can be really useful in terms of giving a baseline level of information.
Yes.
For men and their partners if they're going with them.
And to ask some questions.
It gives them questions and helps them get informed enough.
Yes.
Because otherwise it's very difficult to go into that conversation when you get, I think some guys say to me that they've gone and asked their urologist questions, and the urologist has told them they're wasting their time and just shut up until you're told. Other quite seriously, and that was a guy who got sent off radiotherapy. I wasn't even told that surgery was an option. So I think there are quite a big range of experiences out there. So this could help in terms of providing a better baseline of information for people to access. Yeah, it would be really useful.
Another thing I think would be helpful. I'm really impressed with all three of both presentations. Is maybe some kind of timeline, so you can jump on a timeline and follow a journey and say this may happen, that may happen.
Okay.
Might be told this.
Good thing. Good.
Just like almost like it is a bit like a gaming scenario, isn't it? You go into a timeline, and what if I choose this option? What if I, that might work for other people.
I've been talking to a couple of urology nurses. One of them was the other one's forward about coming up with at the moment it's just called toolbox for one better name, which is basically a quality of life toolbox. This is something they've got forward developing that, because what I've also found is that there's a bit of information available in terms of how you get diagnosed, what's the treatment options, staging. But once you've had treatment, then you're basically shown the tool if you go home and you leave to it.
Yeah.
And it's much harder to gain access to information once you're back out, trying to sort of regain your life. Yes. And so the idea of the toolbox, which could be a project, is to pull together. I was thinking about someone was actually fluffy touch, tactile, so they could actually have it in the clinics. But an online resource would be a really key part of that as well. So you can go in, you can look at how do I manage things like weight gain, sarcopenia, bone density impacts, ED, all of that stuff. And so some can be tactile, but it's backed up by an online resource, which that would be potentially an interesting project, because we don't even have anything like that as a resource ourselves. And your prostate cancer diagnosis usually doesn't stop after your treatment. Hopefully it carries on for quite a few more years, but that's where there's a massive gap, and you are engaging with the medical system as much. Almost being on that point, especially in surgery.
Yeah, and I think what you said, it depends on the stage you're at as well. So when I have ongoing and regular contact with both the Burwood Hospital people, because I get infusions every 3 months, and I also have my medical oncologist who I see every 3 months as well. So I'm still in the loop in terms of being able to ask questions and get sensible information from them, and